Hey, I'm Callie. Thanks so much for watching Graceland Online. Graceland Church exists to see lives transformed in the neighborhoods, the generations, and the nations through Jesus Christ. The teaching that you're about to hear is based on the Bible, and we believe that it will be inspiring and relevant to your life. And if you're here because you're searching for answers to tough questions and looking for help on how to navigate life, we would love for you to text with any questions or if you just need someone to talk to. Again, thanks for watching Graceland Online. We're praying for you, and we hope that this video will be an encouragement to you on your spiritual journey.
Have you seen the movie Independence Day? It is one of the best and the worst movies. The plot is simple and predictable, and the movie is quite a bit over-dramatized. But as an 8th grade boy, when that movie came out, man, I thought that Will Smith was just the coolest. One of my favorite parts of the movie is towards the end. It's when the President of the United States, he delivers a speech to some fighter pilots that would be going to battle against the aliens. And he says this, listen to this. He says, "Should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today we celebrate our Independence Day." I mean, if that doesn't get you fired up, then I don't know what will. I know I was ready to go and to fight some aliens from that speech. But saying we will not go quietly into the night, it's a pretty admirable thing, right? Never giving up, never surrendering. It's something that we teach our kids. It's something that we really tend to celebrate. You see, when we surrender, we're seen as weak. When we surrender, we're seen as losing. When we surrender, we're seen as a failure. What if I told you that there was a different way? What if I told you that the greatest moment of triumph was actually also the greatest example of surrender? What if I told you that humiliation can actually lead to triumph? Now, when you hear the word humiliation, what comes to mind? What do you think about? Maybe for you, it's tripping in the lunchroom as a middle schooler. Maybe it is getting yelled at by someone in public. Maybe someone has stuck some sign on your back at some point, and when you finally find that piece of paper and you're made aware of it, you just feel humiliated. Unfortunately, I think we can all relate to humiliation in some way or another. In fact, I would suggest that most everyone has been the recipient of some type of intentional humiliation. There are many times where people will publicly humiliate others as a form of punishment or shaming. Especially now within the context of social media, public humiliation has really seemed to grow in our culture. But in today's episode, we turn our attention to one of the most well-known and written about acts of humiliation. And as we unpack this story, I want you to think about the following question. This will be our question for today's episode. How can humiliation lead to triumph? How can humiliation lead to triumph? Now, if you've been with us over the past few weeks, then we have been looking at the road to the resurrection. In that, we have looked at the betrayal of Jesus Christ. And then last week, we had a conversation regarding the unfair treatment of Jesus. Now today, we turn our attention to the humiliation of Jesus. Last week, we left off in the middle of the trial of Jesus. He was with Pontius Pilate, and we know that Pilate wanted to let Jesus go, but the Jewish people were not having it. They wanted him to be crucified. They wanted him to be killed. And picking up in John chapter 19, we read some really horrific things. We see that Jesus is flogged, and this means that Jesus was stripped, bound to a post, and beaten by several people turn after turn. They would use a whip with jagged pieces of either metal or bone at the end of it to strike Jesus time and time again. And Jesus' muscles, his veins, his bones, maybe even his internal organs would be exposed because of this brutal punishment. Talk about humiliation. As if it wasn't enough, some of the soldiers gathered together some thorns and they made a crown. This was not only to continue the physical abuse of Jesus, but it was also to mock Jesus as the King of the Jews. They would also outfit Jesus in a purple robe. They would give him a reed to put in his right hand to act as a scepter. Again, both of these things were to mock the Son of God. Talk about humiliation. From their Pilate parades Jesus in front of the crowd, and he theatrically and sarcastically would say this, "Behold the man." Once again, I ask you, how can humiliation ever lead to triumph? Well, all of this humiliation had purpose. All of Jesus' humility in the midst of this injustice had meaning. You see, Jesus' life was not taken from him, but rather that he gave up his life. Jesus willingly surrenders his life. Jesus was not being dragged to his destination. He had determined his destination. And it's really, really important to understand how Jesus went to the cross. He went willingly. It's important to understand why Jesus went to the cross, to accomplish something in triumph. You see, Jesus' death on the cross and his resurrection from the grave are simultaneously the greatest example of surrender and also the greatest moment of triumph in all of human history. Jesus goes from victim to victor, and he took on the humiliation of the world. He took on the humiliation for you. He took on the sin of the world for you, and he too will grant you victory. All he asks is that you believe in him. He's extending his hand to you, and he's freely offering you the gift of salvation. You see, his road to the resurrection, it was for you. It was for me. If you'd like to know more about this truth, if you'd like to find healing maybe from some type of humiliation that you've had, if you'd like to have victory from the things of this world, then we would love to just connect with you. Once again, please text us at 812-432-2234, and we would love to answer any questions that you may have. And as always, if you found this message helpful, please be sure to hit the like button or share it with anyone that you think might benefit from this episode. Also, if this episode has blessed you and you want to invest in the mission of Graceland, you can give at our website. That's gracelandchurch.online. Again, gracelandchurch.online. Thanks again for tuning in today, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks again for watching Graceland Online. We hope that God spoke to you today through this video. And again, feel free to text us if you have questions about what you heard, or if there's a way that we might be able to help you. You can also find more videos and resources at gracelandchurch.online. Thanks again for watching, and we hope that you'll join us again soon.